All right, we are back. We're doing Pokemon the Movie 2000, or Pokemon The Power of One, as it's called in Japan. This movie was released in Japan on July 17, 1999, and in the US, July 21st, 2000. I guess it makes sense why this wasn't called Pokemon 2000 in Japan, because it didn't come out in 2000. Did you guys see this in theaters when it came out originally?
I did. I did see it. I remember.
I went straight to the VHS.
Yeah, I saw it with my brother and my mom. We wanted to see it together.
I didn't see this in theaters, but we did rent the VHS multiple times because we actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, this is the same VCR I had when I was a little kid. I've had this VCR for like 30 years now. So I had Pokemon 2000 on VHS when it first came out.
Alex, when you rewatched it, did you watch the VHS version or did you like go on Amazon or where?
Oh, I watched the VHS, man. That's what I was saying. Those the previews like put me in nostalgia. Like fucking, it was like MVP, most valuable primate, my dog Skip. Like it was a fucking shit when that was like, dude, it feels so old.
Does anyone remember the Burger King toys for this movie?
I do remember that one of the promotional materials was a holographic Ancient Mew card, and just getting that at a young age made you feel like a badass.
Oh, I didn't know that was tied to this one. I assumed it was the first movie. But
no, they had the Articuno, Moltres, and Zapdos cards.
That was also a promotion. Yeah, that was also a promotion.
Yeah, I know the Burger King, they did like 3D cards. I had the Lugia and Kingler one, and like one shot water and stuff. Like they weren't great compared to like the first movie toys, but like, you know, it's still a fun thing.
Yeah, I remember like the keychains. Me and my sister would try and collect the different ones, but other than that, I don't remember the cards, the holographic ones.
Yeah, the holographic Mew card, the same card that Lawrence picks up at the very end of the movie.
It is funny that this entire movie is like one fan. He wants to catch them all. He started with one card. That's all it took.
All it took, just one Pokemon card to become a villain. Kind of use today's events with the scalpers.
Yeah.
I do think that it was funny how, just like the first movie, when they were commenting on how could they pit Pokemon against each other, fight like this. That's the point of Pokemon battles. For this movie, they were like lecturing this guy on how can you just collect Pokemon? That's so cruel. It's like the theme of the show is literally catch 'em all. This guy is just using his wealth and technology to capture Pokemon, in a sinister way, but really he's not doing anything that different.
Yeah. All right, let's get into what are your overall thoughts of the movie, if you want to start, Parth.
Sure. So for me, I actually like this one slightly more than the first one, although it's not by like that much more. I just kind of felt like, as a kid, I think I really appreciated Ash getting the limelight as the quote chosen one, and I was a fan of like those dynamics where Misty got jealous of that island girl who was like crushing on Ash or like purposely trying to trigger Misty. I thought that was just funny, and rewatching that is kind of funny, but it's also kind of weird because these are like 10-year-olds. And the fact that the creators intentionally had some sort of, I don't know, boyfriend-girlfriend dynamic in there, just like teasing at that is kind of funny and weird. But I really enjoyed it because I think there was a lot more engagement, I feel like, with the legendaries in this one. Obviously, there's more legendaries in this one, but the different islands and just like the fact that there was a task involved retrieving like the orbs, I felt like the Ash as a character was a lot more involved in trying to quote save the world rather than just the way they did in the first one. And I thought the music was better. I liked the melody that they used for Lugia. like the song to awaken Lugia. But other than that, overall, I would say not my favorite one, but definitely slightly edges out the first.
I can go second. You know what? I'm going to say this movie's kind of average. I really like parts that I love the ocarina, like where they play like the music at the end and like how the fountain restores and everything. I know Chris said not to jump to the end on this, but I feel like the last like 30 minutes of the movie was significantly better than the first 2/3 of this movie. I think the villain was kind of lame. I know he was the collector. He raged the fury and the legendary birds. He caused the problems. But they didn't really put a lot of emphasis on this villain. Lugia was really cool. I like that they made Lugia talk and everything, or like Sai communicated with Ash. But I don't know. Overall, I think the first movie's better. I'm going to give this one just right out of 5 out of 10. Like, I just think it's average. It does have a lot going for it, though. And the intro movie, like the little short before the actual movie was really cool in this one, too. So it had good music.
What was the intro? I didn't watch it for this rewatch. It was like a Pikachu one, right?
Yeah, it was like when they fell through the tunnel and they had all the music going, and they have to save the executes from blowing away and shit.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, it was neat. So I would give you I think the first one's better than this, and the second one's is better than the third one, which we'll get to next time. But instead, this was just like a 5 out of 10 because there's some of the later movies I like a lot better than this one. I don't know. Yeah, that's my perspective on it.
Oh, that's great. I kind of agree with you. This movie was just okay. I know it just was kind of boring at the beginning, a lot of it, and then the villain is, I don't really get what he wants. He just wants to collect them for his ship and just have the Pokemon on the ship. Like, what is the end goal? I think the end goal was just to get Lugia. They had to collect the first 3 birds in order to get Lugia out of the ocean. Even like his ship at the end of the movie, not to jump there, but like his ship is gone. Like he doesn't have a ship and he's like still attacking Lugia. It's like, to what end? You're just going to chill on this island with Lugia captured? Like, it doesn't make sense. But
I don't know. I'm sure he's got money for a new ship. You don't know how many ships he's got.
Yeah, so that was he's definitely forgettable in terms of the Pokemon villains. And
just about like prompting the capture of Lugia. Like prompting the capture of Lugia, in my opinion, I personally thought that made the plot more interesting than the first one, where rather than like the legendary being like the main villain, I appreciated the fact that there was a villain, even though he had a fairly forgettable afterthought role. He was kind of facilitating bringing this legendary out from under the sea. To me, that aspect made the plot more interesting to me.
That's fair.
I mean, honestly, like, I agree with Chris at the beginning. It was very boring. Like, it just felt like an average episode. Like, oh, hey, here's a new place. We're going to explore it. And there's, like, some random town girl. Here's their issue and stuff like that. And it wasn't until, like, the last 30 minutes where Alex said, like, it does get a little bit interesting. But, I don't know, just, like, the villain's very forgettable. It's like what you said, Chris. Like, he's a collector, but he doesn't want to collect, like, Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres. Mind you that they are, like, rare Pokemon. And, like, in the games, like, obviously, like, Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres don't have, like, the legendary appeal compared to, like, Mewtwo or Lugia. But I'm like, bro, these are, like, rare Pokemon. Like, you not want to collect them? Like, I get it, you want Lugia, but it's like, what else is there in your... Like, what else is there in your collection? Like, you have no Pokemon, too? Like, and I get it, he's a collector, but, like, wouldn't you want to bring, like, some security with you?
Adrian, if you're not first, you're last, okay?
His collection is, like, random vases, and one Mew card is all he has at the beginning of the movie.
And then I just want to add,
he doesn't need low-level legendaries. He needs Lugia. Lugia's the prize, bro. He's prompting Lugia out. You know, he's trying to summon Lugia by fucking shit up on all the other minor legendaries islands.
and I also just want to add, with him as like as the character. How like he's just at the very end, he's just got the Mew card. Like, I guess I'll start over again. And I'm like, bro, like, what? Like, that's your lesson you took out of all this? Like, oh,
He's
man,
a villain. Why would you, what do you expect from a villain? Oh, like I actually think that's more believable than Mewtwo being
true, okay.
rushing to the conclusion just because Ash gets in the way of an attack. He's like, oh, I guess humans do care about Pokemon. Like, what? You went through all this trouble to build a fortress, like, attract Pokemon trainers that are highly skilled, minus Ash, even though he ends up saving the day, I guess. But then all of a sudden, like, you just, maybe I see the error in my ways now because I saw Ash get in the way of my attack. He wants us to stop fighting. It's like, that was convincing enough for you to just have a change of heart? So to me, even though the villain had a minor role to play and he was kind of insignificant, I feel like at the very least he was significant enough and he played his part for whatever small part he had. I think it's more believable that he's stuck in his ways at the end and wants to rebuild after getting his ass blown out of the sky still.
Yeah.
Okay, I do.
It's like the Kaiba thing. Like, sure, he destroys its jet, but he has more money somewhere.
I'm also just kind of like interested. Like, this is like the first like person we kind of see in the Pokemon world. Like, this guy has a fucking like steampunk like ship, and like you rarely see that in like the Pokemon anime. Like, yes, you get Team Rocket with the creative like Robotniks. But if this is just different, this is just like next level shit. I'm like, and you never see that again in like the games. I'm sorry, in the anime.
His ship is wild. Like, I don't even, like, it's just fans and like there's like bricks in the middle and there's like a biblical painting on top of the ceiling. Like, what are you going? What is your vibe here, bro?
Doesn't that ship have like a name? Like, it's not like a Zeppelin, but it's like has a name. I don't know.
Yeah, but
like,
it's
what's the castle in the sky called from like the Miyazaki movies? Like, they have a name, like the ship design. I don't know what's.
Yeah, I've seen that like a ship of that sort pop up.
Yeah, it's
commonly in different types of movies.
Like another type of Zeppelin.
I will say that it is pretty cool that he has AI on the ship, like that he can talk to and program. Like, to your point, Chris, it's like he's got this weird mix of just, I don't know, Renaissance historian art and fucking AI.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this was kind of disappointing because like he has all this money. He has like some high fantasy tech that we haven't seen in the Pokemon universe, and like he's such like a really forgettable villain. And you would expect a little bit more from him.
I mean, I feel like he's more of an agent of chaos than anything else. He's not like, I wouldn't even call him the main. He's not even like the main villain. He's just like some guy who happens to have an agenda that prompts all this chaos to ensue, which then, transpires into the near end of the world.
Well, the villain's name for audio is Lawrence the Third, and he has a flying palace.
I mean, that makes sense, the palace.
Yes, but Lawrence the Third for all our listeners.
Does he come back? Let's see. No, he does not.
I wonder what Lawrence the First and Second were like.
Give me a movie about them.
We need a prequel. We need an origin story.
But I think overall, like, I want to also add, like, the Ash being the chosen one story. I didn't care for it. Like, it was just like, bro, like, it's just there to like make any young kid feel a little bit special. I don't know. Like, I just,
did you not like the prophecy obviously. Where you turn to where the world turns to ash and it's Ash?
Yeah, I mean that falls into the category that like easily falls into the category of things that sound cool when you're young, but then as an adult, when you listen to it, you're like, okay, that was lame.
Speaking of lame things, I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't do an opening battle like the other movies in this one. It just kind of like cuts to like the Pokemon chilling on a boat with Tracy there, which
Well, that's because it was off the Orange Island.
that's true. Yeah, but I feel like there's like two characters in this movie who do literally add nothing to this movie. It's Tracy and Slowking. I think are just pointless.
Slowking's a narrator, bro.
I don't think we need two Pokemon that talk in this movie. Slowking doesn't add enough that Lugia didn't already add.
Okay,
Talking wise.
I know. Well, talking wise, I know. Alex said he thought it was cool. I didn't like the fact that Lugia talked.
I mean, I didn't like it either.
understand
But if we're having one or the other, we don't need Slowking to talk as well.
No, I would agree.
Especially like in the movie, it's like his random quipping. It's like, I should have brought pants or whatever, like horrible jokes.
Yeah.
I will say, I will say Slowking, definitely unnecessary, but it was there to kind of like give the audience of Jesus Gen 2. Because I think, mind you, I think this movie came out like before the release of Gold and Silver in Japan. And then also, Lugia was also made specifically for this movie, which is kind of crazy to think about. And even the creator of Lugia was like, oh wow, this creation of mine got into games.
That would make sense why Lugia is such a subpar legendary. 'Cause it wasn't really canon.
Yeah.
Okay, but also just
The movie, just to clarify, the games come out a few months later in November 1999 in Japan. So yes, it was after that.
I also want to add that, like, without Lugia talking, we want to get that great meme where it's like, that song revived me. The power of that song revived me.
Well, he wasn't actually talking. He was like psychic communicating, like ESP with Ash.
Mm-hmm.
I will say one of my like little gripes about this movie, and this is maybe just because I'm an older, like, a fan of Pokemon, like, throughout the ages, it's like how they were like, oh, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, if they don't have, like, they're not left alone. I mean, sorry, if they're not at peace, they can destroy the world. I'm like, what? Like, you're telling me Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno have this much power over the Pokemon world? Like, they're like subpar legendaries. They're not like up there with the goats like Kyogre. Like, you're telling me that Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno can fuck up the currents of the water? Nah, I don't believe that.
I wonder if it's like like they'll destroy the world in this part of the world, this part of the region, and not like the entire world. Because even like when it was like, oh, all the Pokemon, they're walking on the ice to do something. They don't know, but they're here to do it. All Gen 1 Pokemon. So I feel like it's
just Gen 1. It's not like, oh, here's generations. I don't know. I didn't buy that. I was like, yeah, bro, like, these Pokemon aren't shit. Like, yeah, they're a little bit powerful, but they're not that powerful.
It's for going.
Well, when this movie came out, when this movie first came out, we didn't have the full index of the Gen 2. Like, even in the little intro movie, it only had, like, Meryl and, like, a few, like, it had Slowking. It had, like, all the Paradise Island. Like, when they gave out the Paradise Island cards, you had
those are
Slowking,
cool.
you had Meryl, you had Executor and stuff. Like, Lugia we didn't have the full index. Like, we didn't have no Espeons and Umbreons and Tyranitar, or not, and all that stuff. Like, spoiled yet. We didn't know Chansey had an evolved form. Like, that stuff wasn't a concept yet when this movie came out.
Yeah.
Like, this movie came out in 2000.
I guess it's like, in hindsight, you can't really complain because that's literally all they had.
I'm complaining.
Orange Island was the prelude to Johto.
Yeah.
So.
I guess speaking of Pokemon, what do we think of Ash's team in this movie? He had Pikachu, Lapras, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Charizard, and Snorlax.
And a Cyndaquil, right?
Not right now, at least in the movie.
That's Johto, bro. Come on, get with the.
Well, but in the beginning of the movie, he had Cyndaquil. He was battling with it. So.
No, there's no battle in this movie.
There's no battle.
Oh, I don't know.
There's no battle.
No, that's right in the next movie, Alex.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. His team was lame.
Yeah,
There's
Tracy's here, bro.
winning.
Tracy's here. That means they're in like the civilian islands.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a good, I guess, his team. I don't know. Snorlax was a nice addition. He didn't really do much except like almost sink the boat at the beginning. But yeah, nothing too exciting from Ash.
I don't think he even uses the Snorlax ever again until
I think he's
Battle
puts it away.
Frontier. Yeah, until he goes to the Battle
That
Frontier.
couldn't happen in 2025. That couldn't happen in 2025. They'd have to edit that scene out. It's fat shaming.
Oh, I guess there was a scene because the version I was watching had one of the scenes that was cut in the dub, but they like had it in Japanese still. It was, I don't know, it was a weird version that I watched, but the scene was Tracy explaining how like fire, lightning, and water create explosions, and like he was like going through like the numbers and stuff. And it was like, okay, I guess we cut out like Tracy's like one of his like 2 or 3 scenes where he actually talked in this movie, which is kind of funny.
Probably made the movie more enjoyable by doing that.
I think they would have made the movie more enjoyable by putting the Elite Four Lorelei in there, since they're in the Orange Islands. You know,
I feel like Tracy, like, even if he had drawn like a single sketch of a Pokemon in the movie, he would have been more useful than his just standard useless self. He just has no purpose.
I will say
it's kind of a follow-up from the show, you know, because the Orange Islands show, like, you had to include Tracy. You can't just exclude him. They're in the Orange Islands.
Oh, I mean, I think we all understand that. I just think we don't
He
like
just doesn't
Tracy.
do anything. But he doesn't do anything. Like, if he actually did something, then it would warrant.
He didn't do anything in the show either, you know.
I mean, he did more in the show than just be a blank character that's just there.
Yeah. Like Misty had like a pretty big part where, like you're saying, the romance, not romance with Ash.
Yeah, annoying me. 'Cause at no point, like in the anime, they were never like designed to be lovers. They were just
I mean, I'm gonna push back on it. There's little inklings of subtle like teasing of them having like, you know, not like a romance, but just the fact that, I don't know, I guess like it's pretty common for, especially in shonen anime, for the main character who tends to be male and, you know, a side character / main character who's female, for there to be like tropes of like a relationship that's not there, but it just kind of alluded to that there could be something. I feel like they were just either doing fan service or teasing at that with what they included in the second movie.
There's also no indication that she had any romantic interest with Ash as well. Like,
she's 10. She's 10 years old, bro.
Okay, first off, these Ashes like might as well be 50 years old. All right, like,
okay, well,
yeah,
an anomaly.
Even like in this movie,
it's
like
such a cop out.
The
it's
main,
more so their bickering relationship that's like creating any sort of tease or subtle illusion that there could be something.
How old is Brock?
Brock's probably like 17 or something.
Well, okay. All right.
You know,
he seems to have no limit. He seems to have no age preference in all the women he chased after. So
we don't want to talk about that. But I think it's funny like how the beginning of the movie, Ash and friends like wind up on this island, and they're having a festival and stuff, and like this little girl, Melody, she's there like egging Ash on to be this champion and get all the orbs. So Ash decides to go like right away. He's like, I'm going right now. I know there's a storm coming, but I don't give a fuck. Then they're like, oh shit, the storm's here. And then Melody by herself takes this like speedboat, her older sister, that like elder guy. No one else is gonna come with her. Like, she's 10 too, right? Like, I just thought that was funny. It's like,
Well,
I'll save you. I know I'm younger than you, but I'll save you with my fancy boat.
no, I agree. I think that was silly, but they did kind of mention, or she did mention in the show or the movie that she's the one who it's her fault that they're out there, so she wants to go out there personally. But I do think that it's common sense. Why wouldn't the older sister try and stop her? But I guess plot armor. I will say one of the other things that's kind of funny, just more so validating, given all the years that I've argued with Adrian about how Lugia is an inferior legendary. It was just so validating to see Lugia get captured like a little bitch. And also just get the shit kicked out of it twice. And the fact that it needed a 10-year-old boy to help revive him. I just thought that was kind of hilarious. And then if it wasn't, bad enough, it's like, yeah, you already get the shit kicked out of you. You're already, kind of a bitch for getting captured and hurt. Why not just let this 10-year-old ride the back of your neck? Why don't you just give him a ride?
That was literally in the prophecy. They said the 3 birds will get angry, Lugia will fail alone, and then they'll be wakened by the sound of the ocarina. Like, it was in the prophecy. It can't just not happen.
It's really convenient for Lugia's narrative.
I mean, you can fly all of those birds.
Still,
what are you talking about in the games?
You can fly on those birds in the game.
Any Pokemon that has like a flying, that can be taught fly, you can ride them in the games.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Like, actually ride them in the games?
Yeah, they take you to different parts of the region.
Okay, well, that just kind of fuels my notion that
you can do the same for Ho-Oh. You can do the same for Ho-Oh, just like you know.
You can do the same for Ho-Oh in the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're birds. They fly. You can fly on them.
Whoa, you're conflating two things. Yeah, birds fly, but the fact that you're saying that in the games that like people can fly on the Pokemon?
Yeah.
Okay, well that just kind of validates my point even further that I think it's dumb that they have that the fact that you can tame these legendaries, or like the fact that they remove any sort of mythical or just mystical element to them by just degrading them to something as just common as a regular Pokemon that's non-legendary. Like, I think it's silly to call them legendary if there's something like that's even possible.
So even catching them is too much for you.
Catching them, riding them, it's like, why are they legendary if like they're just as vulnerable as regular ass Pokemon?
I mean,
that's stupid. That kind of takes away. That kind of takes away from like
a legendary, and it has the capability.
That kind of, as I was saying, that kind of takes away from the fact that they're legendary, they're almighty and powerful. Like, just like this illusion that they're supposed to be these mystical, all-powerful creatures. The fact that they are tameable, like, I think that's just kind of like paradoxical, or it's just nonsensical. But from the actual show, I'm not going to comment on the games. I think that's dumb if they allow that in the games. But from the show and the series, like, I do think it's silly that, again, legendary Pokemon are able to be captured or subdued, or you can just fucking ride on it. Like, that's kind of
counterpoint, the whole premise of Pokemon is catch them all, and then also counterpoint, Tobias from, the actual anime, who has 2 legendaries on his team.
At least 2. Who knows what else he has on his team?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he probably had Ho-Oh.
Who's Tobias?
Tobias was a challenger that Ash faced in I think Diamond and Pearl, and he had like 2 legendaries on his team that Ash lost to.
Okay, well, I mean, that, again, it doesn't take away from my point that I think they've gone down a path where they've kind of watered down the significance of what a legendary Pokemon is.
You're just mad that you can't catch them all.
I mean, it's like the point.
I mean, it's just stupid. Like, the point is to catch them all, but if they're legendaries, they shouldn't be so easily subdued.
You catch a bird. Then what the hell's the point of catching them at all? Okay, like let's say you catch like you have a Rayquaza and it forms a bond with its trainer. What's the point of its flying if the trainer can't bond and fly with it? Like
What's the point of you catching the Rayquaza?
Because it's awesome. What are you talking about? It's cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's awesome to catch a legendary, but that again only validates my point that it's silly to call them legendary. There's nothing legendary.
What is it going to do? Just
Pokemon.
Run around in nature and not bond with any trainers then?
Well, if we go back to like Ruby and Sapphire example, like Rayquaza, the reason you even catch Kyogre and Groudon, and if you do not catch them, the world will be destroyed.
Okay, fair point, but I guess my point is just with the way that they set up these legendaries early on in the Pokemon series is that these are mythical creatures or like legendary. The legendaries are like just alluding to like a mythical being that's like not easily found or seen or captured. Like they're completely going against that setup and premise with the later progression of the games and the shows. If you're making them easy to capture, easy to just come across and just tame. Like, yeah, they're all powerful Pokemon. It's great to have powerful and rare Pokemon and catch them, but it always kind of felt like there was a difference between rare and powerful Pokemon and legendary Pokemon that are just kind of one with nature or part of nature that aren't meant to be kept.
But like, for example, like Rayquaza, like he's supposed to protect the ozone layer and basically steps in whenever Kyogre or Groudon are fucking shit up in the world. And I remember I haven't played this game, but I've seen like clips. It's like he joins the player in defending Earth from Deoxys and allows the player to ride him. Like that's just because like Deoxys trusts the player. Just because a legendary Pokemon offers a ride doesn't mean that they lose their legendary status.
All right, guys, it was good being a part of this. I got to get back to work, so it was good ranking this movie. I look forward to the third movie. I got to head back to work.
Sounds good.
Wait, what's your rank? What's your rank, bro?
Yeah.
Man, okay, well, I said it's mid, so if it's S, A, B, C, I'm going to give it a C minus.
All right.
Low C.
Thanks for joining.
No problem.
I think the reason they're legendary is because it's more like what they symbolize. I don't think any Pokemon is uncatchable. Same with like the Ho-Oh, like when you first see it in the anime, it's like, oh, here's this weird bird Pokemon in the background. We don't know what it is.
I agree with you that they are symbolic, and that's why I'm saying that I feel like they've just moved the goalpost. That's just how I personally feel. Like they just kind of watered down like the significance of a legendary by making them like half almost mystical or mythical and godlike, and half just easily touched by man. That's just my opinion.
I mean, I get it. Like, I understand where you're coming from. There's like a lot of these legendary Pokemon, especially in the later games, they literally get more powerful. Like the power scale increases. Like you have Diagonal Palkia who are able to control space and time, and you're still able to catch them. And then you even catch the god Pokemon, which is Arceus. But yeah, I mean, like you said, like there's definitely. I think the whole purpose of Pokemon is to catch them all. Like they're not gonna prevent you from catching them.
I don't know. I just feel like they moved the goalpost.
I mean, that's the whole thing about Pokemon. You can't like make any Pokemon obtainable.
Yeah, you can. I mean, the premise seemed to be set up that way. Like I said, they moved the goalpost as they continue to milk the series.
What are you talking about? Like you were able to catch Mewtwo and Mew, like in the first game. Yeah, and Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres, and then same thing with Ho-Oh and Lugia. Like, obviously, Mew was a little bit difficult because you had to like get it out to an event But Mewtwo, you always get it post game.
I'm just kind of thinking about it. I mean, I could understand that being like a functional purpose in the game, but when it comes to like the storyline or the thread in the shows and in the movie series, like the premise is just set up as like these are legendary Pokemon, and they're like these mythical creatures, and I'm just clowning on the fact that Lugia does get captured, while in the series Ho does not.
I will say
that is superior.
So, I will say, like, since this is supposed to be like the only movie that's supposed to represent Gen 2, I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get a Ho-Ho movie.
There is sort of a Ho-Ho movie that we'll get to at the end, but that's essentially just a remake of the first episode, few episodes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that technically doesn't count. But I think that just further proves my whole point that Ho-Oh's the only one true legendary. Ho doesn't get caught up in fucking human business.
And you would think that they would do like a movie based off Ho-Oh just because of his connection to Ash, but
I mean,
yeah,
we got Entei.
Oh yeah, but Entei's like, we'll talk about Entei next week. But
yeah,
if you were talking about Pokemon that didn't get anything, Raikou, that is that even in the anime?
Who?
I think so.
The legendary cat.
Oh yeah,
tiger.
Yeah, Raikou.
Yeah, like that guy gets nothing.
I feel like he was in an episode, wasn't he?
Let's see.
He's featured in the Pokemon Chronicles special episode, The Legend of Thunder.
What is?
So he was in a special.
Okay. See, yeah. So he gets
Nothing.
Even less.
I mean, I will say that I think that I think if I dug a little bit deeper into why I'm clowning on Lugia is because I don't feel like they do legendaries a whole lot of justice, at least from the limited knowledge that I have from what I've seen.
Well, doesn't it help that in the anime, Lugia gets captured again, right? Like in the actual season. Yeah, like Team Rocket
exactly.
catches it, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm clowning on it, because it's like, how are you going to take this awesome creature of legend that there's literally a fucking prophecy for, and just make it like so easily captured by a group of thugs that just catch regular Pokemon for a living? I mean, that's why I'm making fun of it, but it speaks to like this greater issue where I feel like aside from these movies, the legendaries don't get a whole lot of proper attention or proper development, in my opinion. But again, I've not seen the later seasons to know what type of legendaries in the later seasons.
I think you're right, though. Like, I feel like it's just like the movies are to hype up the legendaries, like the box Pokemon, essentially. It's like, you want to buy the games now, right? Because you saw them in the movie.
Well, and that's the thing. I feel like it went from being this cool, distinctive, separate class of Pokemon to just something that's more intertwined, and like the fact that there are so many legendaries. Like, I get that there's different regions and different species of Pokemon in different areas throughout the world, but again, it just the way that they set up the premise of legendaries in the beginning, in my opinion, it was symbolic to creatures of mythos and just fantasy, something that's godlike, untouchable, or one with nature or in nature. Like, there's prophecies about these creatures. Like, there's no fucking prophecy about Charmander or Pikachu or Blastoise or, whatever. But that's why, as more and more seasons have, like, as more and more seasons have gone on, I feel like it's just become more watered down and not as significant or as cool.
Counterpoint.
Yeah,
In
I
the
think-
real world, there's different legends and stories that are told about mythical and non-mythical people or creatures. So I feel like region by region, it makes sense that there is these legendary things throughout the
and
world.
I also want to say that there is like a division in the actual like game that like there's a mythical Pokemon, there's legendary Pokemon. The game kind of differentiates the two, where like Mew, Celebi, Jumanji considered mythical. Mewtwo, Lugia, Ho-Oh considered legendary.
That is interesting. I feel like
Yeah.
they should have just not made a distinction like that. I feel like they should all be considered mythical legendaries.
Yeah, I don't know what's the exact like definition of like what considers a mythical versus a legendary. Mostly the legendaries, like Chris said, are like the box cover Pokemon. But I think maybe kind of like spending some time in the movie explaining like the myth and legend, because I think like Lugia wasn't given enough adequate backstory. It's like, oh, he exists in this world, but like we don't know why like he's such a legend.
Especially since like the actual creation of like the person who made the Pokemon had like a whole like meaning and stuff. I feel like there was more deeper that just wasn't
Oh yeah.
cut out or like didn't fit in the movie or whatever. But like I feel like that could have helped.
Yeah, definitely. Where like he considered like Lugia to be like the symbol of like Mother Nature or like the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
The creature of the sea. I guess Lugia controls the seas, which directly affects the weathers.
I mean, there's another Pokemon that can. I think Lugia is like the guardian of the sea. Kyogre definitely like overpowers Lugia in terms of sea.
So lore-wise, legendary is often tied to legends and myths of the Pokemon worlds. Sometimes they're even worshipped as deities. Well, mythical is their existence is often questioned, if not widely known in the Pokemon world. So mythical is like Celebi, like the time traveling one. Like how many people have actually seen that Pokemon? Like that makes sense to me. Even Mew was like sleeping for a lot of the time, right? And then
it was it was in slumber, dormant. Well, even though you read those different definitions, to me, like symbolically, they're one and the same. Like a lot of lore and prophecies around deities stem from just the fact that there are creatures of great power and of mythical nature that are rarely seen, but when they have been seen, they have projected some sort of power, or I don't know.
But I feel like when it comes to like Pokemon like Dialga and Palkia, that makes sense. Like they've been worshipped for many years, you know, like in the Sinnoh games, like people know of Dialga and Palkia, but they don't they've never seen them. It's just like they know that they're powerful Pokemon. Whereas Mew and Celebi and Jumanji, they're like super fucking rare. Like no one has ever seen one.
Yeah, but I guess I still feel like it still
I don't think
falls
they
under
know.
the same umbrella. To me, it still falls under the same umbrella, like legendary. Like
Yeah.
the distinction is I feel like pretty thin.
Yeah.
I don't even know why they decided to change it, because I think that's like recent, the change, I believe.
just out of curiosity, where does Zapdos and the birds fall under?
They're legendary.
That's weird. Like, because like nothing about them just kind of screams like these are very powerful Pokemon. I feel like they're like
For Gen
the
1,
same
though,
boat as, like-
this is Gen 1, remember?
yeah, for Gen 1, I understand that.
Well, I think the problem is like you're also comparing what you're aware of from more
Yeah.
games
Yeah.
and stories that have gone way past Gen 1. Like, but if we're going off the original premise that, or like
Yeah,
the original
definitely.
setup, like Mewtwo, Zapdos, Moltres, all these Pokemon in the first couple of movies, they're symbolic of creatures of, you know, extreme rarity, extreme power, and just being of a mythical nature. So whether they're just rarely seen or whether they're just super powerful and deity-like that have been worshipped, I feel like they all kind of fall within the same category, kind of.
Hmm.
Like,
No, that's understandable. I know like Pokemon suffers from like not, I wouldn't say suffers, but eventually gets into like power scaling later on. The Pokemon have to be like these super powerful beings. And then like Gen 1 is just like, oh, Gen 1's like, oh, there's this bird who can freeze things. Very powerful.
well, I think the bird Pokemon, Zapdos, Moltres, Articuno, to me they were symbolic of deities because they had their own islands as if they were like kind of the creatures that ruled those islands.
Yeah and no, because like, also like, you know, coming from the games, like fucking Zapdos was just found in an abandoned power plant. And then Moltres was just found in Victory. I'm not joking, like that's like literally.
Well, okay, but again, you're comparing it from the game standpoint, which is fair, but from like the series, like the show or the movie, it's portrayed in a different way.
Yeah.
So I guess
And I'm not
I don't
gonna try to disrespect them. Like they definitely have their place in the pantheon, but I feel like
they're gonna fucking curse you, bro. Zapdos is you're gonna wake up and just fucking get struck by lightning.
like that scene where like they're in Zapdos Island, he just starts shocking them. There's
Yeah.
no fucks. Zapdos was just being fucking aggressive in this movie. Okay, quick question for you guys: which out of the three birds is your favorite?
Zapdos.
Nice.
I just like his
Art?
like spiky look.
I think Zapdos looks the most badass, but I would say Articuno.
Yeah, mine's Articuno. I've always been an Articuno fan since like day one, but I can see the love for Zapdos.
I think that there's not really many ice Pokemon that have been introduced up to this point through Gen 1 Pokemon.
And two, because we're
Or
kind of
Gen
all
2.
friends.
Well, Gen
kind of
1 and
entering-
Gen 2.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm saying, like, I think it was just at the time
Mhm.
of its introduction, one of the more unique types.
I don't know. Like I think the movie like felt to me like I said again, like it definitely started off like feeling like just like an average episode, and then it wasn't until the midway point it kind of got a little bit serious. But I don't know. It was really dull to me compared to the first movie. I just don't think there was like something interesting that really like caught the hook. Yes, Lugia was pretty cool seeing it as a kid because like that's your introduction to Gen 2 and Slowking, but I don't know. It didn't catch my attention today compared to the first movie. I think there's just some parts that really dragged out. I will say I'm kind of glad that Team Rocket had a little bit of a role in this one compared to the first movie. I wish there was a Pokemon battle. Like, how can you have Pokemon without a Pokemon battle?
Ah, you're right. There was no battle at all. Really? Wow. Not even versus like villain.
It was just Zapdos, Articuno, Moltres versus Lugia.
Yeah,
much the
and
whole
when
movie.
Pikachu was tickling Zapdos.
Yeah.
But I would say even the Lugia fight versus the three, it's like I was saying, like there was no actual like he has his ass handed to you, and then he's like, oh, this song restored my strength. And it wasn't until the final song that was played, it kind of calmed the three birds. There was like no actual fighting.
What happens to the Pokemon that were on the ice?
They all drowned.
Because like there was definitely some rock. There was like an Onyx we saw at the. They were rocking on the ice, so I don't know.
They're dead. Plot armor.
Maybe like the Lapras or whatever the water Pokemon gave him a ride back. But
I will say, for me, I think I'm the only one of us four that gave a more positive spin on the movie. I did slightly like this one more than the first one because I felt like it was more of a save the world type of movie because it actually showed most of the world being impacted, whereas the entire plot of the first movie took place within the confines of Mewtwo's castle, so it didn't really feel like the world was in danger. Like even like the scene where the Pokemon were all fighting each other, it's just like 10 variants, clones. It didn't feel like it was a save the world type of movie. It was just like more of like this villain's fucking nuts and wants to take over the world movie, but you didn't actually see that in action a whole lot, really at all outside the confines of the castle. But in the second movie, you could see the weather changing, you could see Pokemon and nature, acting up and acting weird. It was like a natural disaster was being televised on TV. So, I don't know, it just felt like more of a Ash Saves the World movie, which is why I liked it more. Because I kind of felt like the conclusion of the first one was just rushed, and Ash saved the world because Mewtwo had an epiphany after Ash got in the way of an attack. Like that it felt like kind of a joke.
Yeah. I some kind of like in the middle. Like I didn't super care for this one. Like a lot of the beginning parts, like Adrian said, it was very, this is just another island. We're doing this festival thing. And then it's like, oh, we're out to our next mission objective kind of, and in this, I don't know, just, I feel like it meandered a while. And then when Lugia actually showed up, he kind of just sucked, honestly. Like Parts was saying, he got caught, he got beat up multiple times. I don't know, like, I feel like he could have had a better showing, like, he is this, like, powerful sea protector, and he is got his ass kicked by some 3 birds who are mad.
Mm-hmm.
And
also, they never explained why they were all attacking Lugia. I didn't really understand that part.
Well, I think at that point, because the villain, like, capturing them, like, disrupted their zones, like, they wanted to, like, expand from their islands out. So I think it was more like a turf kind of war, and it's like Lugia's like, hey, don't fight, guys, and they're like, no, and they kick his ass.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think what I would have liked for them to have done instead was that, like, and you said part of, like, Lugia had his ass handed to you. I think it would have made a little bit of the fight more, the movie a little bit more enjoyable. Like in the back, when you see Lugia like holding up to the 3, like able to fight on his own.
Right.
But then it like the last song is able to give Lugia the power boost. He's able to knock the 3 birds out. And I will say that one of the most badass scenes is when like Lugia does like super hype beam at the very end. That scene was pretty badass, but it just seems so lackluster when you have like this legendary Pokemon get his ass kicked throughout the whole movie.
For sure.
Yeah.
And to go back to like the villain again, he's very forgettable, and like his whole thing was like collecting the Pokemon to get Lugia was his like end goal. But like you have the other legendary birds, and then you just let Ash and friends out of their cage. I'm going back up to my lookout. Don't touch anything while I'm gone. It's like, what do you expect to happen? I just thought that was funny. And
especially when they were like giving him like, oh, you shouldn't collect these Pokemon. Like, who are you? And like, oh, I'm going to know everything you said and just go back up and release you guys.
Yeah.
Like, you knew that they were going to, you knew to do some shit. It's just being fucking dumb.
And we didn't even mention Ash's mom and Professor Oak are in this for a decent amount, just like in the background doing their own thing. It's like, oh, we'll save Ash. Get on this helicopter. Immediately crashes. I did think it was funny, like the news report. It's like we're here with 2 scientists and a mom, a worried mom. Okay, sure.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny how, again, I guess they just tend to do this, but that boat lady just sacrificed her boat, just crashed it into that island to take Ash to, what was it, Zapdos' island? It just didn't make any sense. You just blew up a boat that probably cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then Professor Oak crashes with the helicopter. It's like, oh yeah, let's just ignore the fact that we just blew up a vehicle that probably cost over $1 million.
I'm sure Lugia gave everyone a ride home. He likes doing that.
Yeah, probably.
Ash destroyed like 2 boats in this, and yeah, I think it's funny.
Right.
Like the first lady who was driving them on the boat, like she's like, oh, the rudder's destroyed, but you can go, Ash, go get your whatever ball or whatever. And she's like chilling in her boat, drinking coffee. What about ratings? What do we give this? From S to F, what would you give this movie?
I would give it a B-. I did like it more than the first one, but I'm rating it lower than the first one. I'm pretty sure I gave the first one an A, but it's not as culturally significant, I think, as the first movie was when that came out.
Oh yeah, definitely not. The hype wasn't as big as when that first movie came out.
Yeah, neither was the box office, I think. I think the first one was probably the biggest box office, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this one made 130 million.
That's still not bad.
No, not at all.
I'm giving it a C. I thought it was pretty average. I'm a bit still entertaining as a kid, if you were watching it as a kid, but it's just like, a lot of it's just boring. It felt like a filler episode, and it's just like not even fun. Like, I think the only good part is sort of at the very end where Lugia is just fucking like does super hyper beam, but it's definitely past mark. I'm not saying it's the worst movie. I'm sure there's worse offenders on our list.
I'm giving this a C as well, and yeah, just wasn't the biggest fan of this one on the rewatch. I feel like I remember like Slow King actually doing stuff. Same with Lugia. I feel like they had, when I was a kid, I remember them doing more than they did. And like Slow King was just standing there most of the movie, like talking about the prophecy. I don't know, it just felt kind of lame. And I will say I did like some of the end stuff was kind of good, like Team Rocket, where we're heroes now. Like that was kind of fun, like them saving the day with the raft, the helicopter blade somehow. I don't know. They figured it out.
Figured it out.
Yeah. The side characters, I don't know, weren't very memorable either, honestly. So I'm curious to see the next one, what we think of Pokemon 3, the movie.
Chris, any final thoughts?
If your window breaks while you're watching TV, fix the window. Don't just go back to watching TV.
What was that window comment referencing?
In the movie, Professor Oak and Ash's mom are watching like the news, and like I think like hail or something breaks the window, and they're they're like, they look at it, oh no, then they turn back to the TV and just go back to watching it as the like snow is like coming through the window. I thought that was funny.
Wait, I'm also confused. Did this take place at Ash's house? The scene where the window breaks was
no. It's like
Ash's
in
house?
Professor Oak's lab.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, what the fuck is Professor Oak doing at Ash's house? Just
Well, he
chilling,
does.
watching
He does
TV.
visit her in the movie.
He does?
Wait, was that not in the version you watched?
I do remember that he pulled up his bike.
Yeah. What like
Right,
the Diglets? Was that not?
Yeah. That was in the version I saw.
Wait, was
Oh,
that
no,
cut?
yeah, I saw that.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say,
No,
why would they
I
cut
saw
Yeah,
that?
they were like,
Oh.
Pokemon know more about the weather than we do. Something's very wrong. And then
Okay,
Mr.
yeah.
Mime's all scared, and yeah.
Sure, Professor O. He probably he's got a fucking Pokemon laboratory. He probably summoned all those Diglets so he could have an excuse to go over to Delia's house.